Crackdown is a game, it's about freedom. It's a massive open world sandbox, and you can pretty much do what you want. One of the things that Runtime has helped us with is to achieve that level of freedom. So by freedom, I mean, if you want to go somewhere, you can. Anywhere you can see in the world, you can climb on it and get to the top. And we've used that extensively. That's where Runtime's really, really helped us. And also, that freedom extends to the development of the game as well. So Runtime's allowed us to use that technology to make it easier for us to make that game. So, you know, we can use this, spend more of our time making the game and making it fun than we would spending our time working on nitty-gritty and software that we would otherwise need to develop. The predominant use is for our legend system, which allows you to basically scale any vertical surface, so whether it's a building, whether it's a rock face, even if it's a series of trees or plants, you can basically connect to these in a very real and believable way. And we wanted that to be the case, so you can use that to your advantage. You know, you can use it from a tactical point of view, or just to get somewhere to have a look at the pretty view. But you've got to make sure that the player looks like they're connected, so it's got to feel tactile as you're doing these kind of things. And that was very important to us, because if the hands pass through or the connection's not there, you kind of lose that sense of disbelief. You don't feel like you're connected to the game world, and that's really what Runtime has given us.
The biggest saving that it's given us is the fact that it's allowed us to run with this dynamic legend system. You can imagine the amount of time invested that would be required by the designers and artists in a map to actually go and tag each mesh that can be grabbed hold of by the agent. iKingdom has allowed us to generate this dynamic system that sort of offloads all that work into this code-driven pipeline. We could have eaten up a couple of years worth of work just chasing down these bugs. One thing that you've got to consider in our game is as you progress throughout the campaign, the character actually levels up, and as they level up, they actually become bulky and physically larger in the world. So this means that ordinarily you would have to generate a full set of animations for each individual agent level. But fortunately, iKingdom has sort of helped us with this because it's allowed us to position the hands and feet exactly where we need to, and we just use a single set of animations throughout all agent levels regardless of where they are in the world, and it just scales really nicely. So now what iKingdom has with its full body IK solver is just fantastic. It allows you to have full control over where the limbs go, while still making sure that the fluidity of the character and the flair of the animations that the animators have put into their animations come through to the final product. Initially implementing iKingdom was extremely simple. We got it up and running within a day, and it worked with our existing animation library that we had. We didn't need to add anything new to support iKingdom.
It's really great that we've been able to expand that freedom using Runtime, because you can pretty much climb up everything. At the start, that's really important, because by the end of the game, I'm sort of a one-woman army, and that's really great. But at the beginning, let's just say you're going to need to sneak up and surprise the enemy. We've got an open-end world, and you can literally go anywhere. And that opens up for a lot of potential tactics. For example, there's nothing better than sort of climbing up the side of a building, find a load of explosive items and sort of raining death down from above.
One of the really surprising results from using Runtime is it means that we can feed it a limited set of animations. And it helps us solve various issues with how those animations are going to interact with the climbing environments in our game, as opposed to feeding in a huge number of animations. And that obviously impacts time and quality. So, because the quality bar of AAA games is always rising, that means that we've got more detailed characters, more detailed environments, and that introduces a whole load of other challenges where characters can easily clip into anything that they may interact with. So using Runtime helps us solve some of those issues, and that obviously then means that we can start putting more detail and more fidelity into everything within the game world, and not have to worry about some of those issues because we're using Runtime.
It has solved us a whole bunch of problems. It saved us a lot of work to develop a full body IK solution, which is not straightforward, especially with a game as complicated as Crackdown, because we have agents which grow and get stronger and buffer. And you always build on top of what's gone before. So the next time we do something, there'll be an expectation with even more realistic, with even more tactile nature and more detail. Games are only going to get more complicated. So when you find a good tool to put in your arsenal, you tend to come back to it.